Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yes, you seem to kind of trail off there at the end.
Yeah, well, I was debating, do I say the red corner thing? Do I say, I don't know, that snivelling little shit or something to that effect? I don't know. Like, I have a lot
That
of
would
options.
be reasonably appropriate, I'm sure.
Ow, at my hand. We got to talk about 4 shows this week. We got Supergirl, Batwoman, The Flash, and the season premiere of Arrow to talk about, and what excitement that brought.
Oh dear.
Not much in the way of news, but it is worth probably mentioning the image. If you're avoiding spoilers for Crisis and about like references and cameos that might be happening, might be worth skipping ahead to the first review. But there was a screenshot this week, or an image of a newspaper that is going to appear in Crisis, and it showed Michael Keaton, and it had a headline of Bruce Wayne's going to marry Selena Kyle on the headline. So they're actually, even without getting the actors, they are tying it into the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Why not at this point?
Should have got Keaton, you cowards.
I'm willing to put money on the fact that they asked, and he was just like, no.
Should have offered him a truckload of money. Should have said, hey, Keaton, how would you like the sound of $1 billion? And then Keaton would be like, you know what? Even I can't pass that up. I'm not been that successful.
He's not. But I mean, I don't know if they have $1 billion. Just spare couch change.
They could find it. Get a loan from Feige over at Disney. He's like the head of Marvel entirely now. Get it from him. He'll have it thrown around.
Why not? It's worth a try.
But yeah, so that was the one notable thing I think this week. And it does. I mean, I wish that didn't get leaked. I wish that's the sort of thing that we'd have just seen in the episodes and not knowing that it was coming.
Yeah, this one was an actual leak though, not a press release, right?
I think so, but even the fact that I even know this one exists though means that I'm not even going to be that surprised if we get other things like this now. Like if we get, there's a screenshot of I don't know, Christopher Reeve, or here's an image of someone else from this other thing. Like none of them will be that surprising now because we've seen one of them.
Honestly, at this point, I don't care if it surprises me anymore. I know, right? Every DC thing in history is fair game for cameo or referencing. Now, do a damn good story as well.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see. The rating on these shows week to week makes it difficult to have much hope, even though Elseworlds was very fun last year. But
that's what I mean. The crossovers tend to be better, even if not always amazing. They tend to be better than the week to week. Even the shows that we dislike more tend to have their strongest episodes being the ones written for the crossovers.
Well, speaking of week to week, we shall dive in to Supergirl season 5. Episode 2 is called Stranger Beside Me, and we dive in headfirst into Jean's brother, and the team try to find him. Brainy overfeeds Nia, and and Alex gets to know Jenny.
Kelly.
Kelly. Do you know what it is? It's because of the whole Jenny Olsen thing from Man of Steel. I just keep thinking Jenny Olsen.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's Kelly Olsen. Kelly Olsen.
Can you tell how little we care already?
Well, Kelly and Jimmy have something. They're believable brother and sister because the boredom and disinterest runs in the family. So
I don't understand what Alex sees.
She's just lonely. Poor Alex is lonely. She's have some happiness. She's trying.
Too busy at work to meet anyone else.
Yes. May have been funny though if she actually had almost poisoned her with the blueberries, because as we find out, Kelly is allergic to blueberries, also cats, which means
and something else as well, some sort of nut, hazelnut.
One of the nuts. So yeah, she's trying real hard. I mean, I did get a kick out of it when Brainy and her comparing their mornings, and Brainy like got some breakfast burritos for Nia, and she's like, "Oh, this is the best morning ever," and she's so happy, and Brainy's kind of bragging about it. And she's just, right, and then Alex is like, "Yeah, I had a nice morning too," and she goes really high pitched, and Brainy's like, "You went high pitched."
So you went up 2 octaves.
So something's not right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know she was allergic to blueberries. Like that was a funny beat.
And Brady's just like, Well, clearly you don't know her as well as I know Nia then.
Yes. Which he then proceeds to ruin by sending her 50 of everything she likes. So she's got like 50 pizzas at her desk and
It was
50.
boxes of sushi, wasn't it?
That was the first thing, but there was pizzas
Yeah.
later. And she's like, "This is too much food. Stop sending me food, Brainy. No more food." And then
The cat was like, "Hey, screw this. I'm getting in. I'll give me some food."
yeah, and then he substitutes it later by just like she's into poetry, so he dresses like a poet and starts just doing nothing but singing poetry to her at the end.
I did see someone translate the poetry because he's reading from a notebook. And it shows you it's all in binary. Someone actually translated it, and it's they wrote a poem just for this, and then put it into binary just to put on that like for 2 seconds on the screen, if that.
They didn't need to do that. They could have just put down random ones and zeros.
They could have done anything, yeah.
It'd have been fine.
Yeah. So I appreciate the effort, though.
That said, though, I mean, they probably just put into a computer program that just did it for them. It's not like
yeah, but they still wrote a poem first and then translated it to binary. I don't know wrong. The translating bit's easy enough.
Well, they still have to write it anyway for him to say. He still has to have dialogue.
No, but he doesn't read it all. It's not all the stuff
sure.
he reads. It's an extra one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Too much effort.
It is.
But the big things of this episode, of course, are Jean's brother. The rest of the gang find out about it, and they try to track him down using Green Martian, tracking. They can track Green Martian, so they know Jean's where he is. So it's like, okay, the other one
eliminate that one.
Has to be around somewhere. Which leads to one of the most silly cartoony moments in the entire show when it comes to physics. Supergirl comes flying in because he's in the sewer, right? They find that he's in the sewer. Supergirl comes flying in and goes into a manhole at full speed, right? The manhole cover does this like cartoony kind of like bounce and like flip and lands,
yep.
Right? Which I'm not complaining about. That made me smile. But then it cuts into the sewer and it feels like too much time has passed, but she's just landing in the sewer, but she's landing like feet first. So she's dove in full speed head first and then somehow flipped and then landed on her feet slowly. I don't know.
What we didn't see
is
she pressed her hands on the ground and and pushed and did a somersault land. We just saw we just missed that bit.
Oh, it was just too fast for our eyes.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So they go hunting and get in a bit of a fight. They don't kill Jean's brother or capture him, but they do kind of in the fight inadvertently kill a white Martian who's kind of Jean's brother's mentor or friend or
something.
Jean's trying to unlock his memories using, and this is where it just feels like the show's pulling shit out of its ass here.
Q waves?
Q waves, because Kelly is doing what? Because Kelly's a therapist, but she's using technology to access brain waves and things in between brain waves to help her therapy. So she's working at Andrea's company, whatever that was called, and she's like, "Hey, we've got this thing. You can come in and sit in the chair, and we'll look at your brain." And I'm like, "Why do you just have this sitting around?"
And what was worse is, this is introduced by Brain's like, "Well, man, it's a shame we're not in the future because we got Q waves, and that could solve this right away. No problem. It's just a shame they don't exist here and now." And she's like, "Yeah, they do. I got them. It's cool. Just come to my office."
I mean, to be fair, that could become a plot point. That there's some stuff that exists already that shouldn't. Maybe that'll come up.
It could.
That's crisis related shenanigans, perhaps. But yeah, so he can't remember that he's got a brother, and it's not until he goes into his mind with the help of this tech that he sees that his brother did exist and that he betrayed the Green Martians.
But
and was
he's not doubting the existence of that it is his brother because of this curse that brother can't attack brother.
Yeah, they get sick if they try and fight each other, so they both feel that after this little scuffle.
Yeah, so he's like, "No, he must be my brother. I just don't remember him."
Yeah, so is whatever it is, but it does lead to some fun stuff later though when his brother goes to infiltrate and pretends to be Kelly in front of Alex. And to be fair, the whole blueberry thing does come up in a plot point here where she brings up blueberries to kind of prove that it's not really her. I like this fight for the most part. I like Supergirl, because by this point he turns into Alex. He pretends to be Alex, and Kara just knows immediately that it's not really her, and just heat visions her in the face. And
there's no there's no hesitation because it looks like a sister, and it's like, that makes a whole back. Nah, screw it.
I like the heat vision in the face. I enjoyed that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really expect it to almost rip away the human part to reveal the green, like it was like a skin suit, but I'll take it.
Yeah, that was weird, but I'll take whatever. I thought the watch moment was particularly cheesy. Um,
Sure.
so she activates the watch and it signals Kara. Understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But it signals all the other watches as well, and they all come running.
It's a whole network of watches now.
And they all get there as quickly as she does, more or less.
Yeah, Supergirl should be there quicker than everyone else. She's flying through the sky
Yeah,
at like Mach 3 speed or whatever she's doing. Like everyone else
yeah.
should be a bit slower.
Let her get in there in seconds. Sure, yeah, I've got no problem with that. Everyone else showing up 10 seconds later. Okay.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Especially like Jimmy. Like what?
Yeah, Jimmy, who's had offers to both run for Senate and run a museum.
Yeah.
They're throwing job offers at him.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever. So that all goes down, and he gets away. But he did overhear from them that like they might be able to like reset Jean's mind, and he wants his mind reset because he wants to be unleashed at full power. So he knows it's going to be risky, but that's what he wants. So that's kind of where we end this thing. Throughout all this, there's a weird kind of subplot with the we didn't even mention him this last episode. He was introduced last episode.
Yes, random British guy.
Random British guy who, at first I was like, is he a love interest for Kara? Because I'm not really feeling it. But they make a point in this episode saying that he's got a wife, and so I don't know what they're doing exactly.
Wasting your time.
Wasted our time, but. I didn't hate the idea that he assumed Kara saw something on his computer screen that he then felt nervous about when we know she didn't see something. I didn't hate that beat on its own because it felt like, I don't know, I feel like in these shows, typically whenever someone like has a hunch or overhears or sees something, it's true that it's happened. I kind of like that he just assumed that she saw something, but didn't.
Yeah.
I kind of appreciate that a little bit.
And then we have a follow-up sequence of, oh look, someone else got somewhere as really quickly that makes no sense either.
Oh yes, him, because he appears in the sewers.
Yeah, again, she just flew there, and he shows up within a minute of that.
Yeah, at least it's a minute though in this case.
I mean, it's slightly longer, but it still felt quick.
Maybe have to. I don't know. But the show shows us that he's a decent person though, because he goes to like a kitchen, like a homeless shelter kitchen to serve food.
Because Kara's like, "Hey, you're a terrible person," and then we see this, and it's like, "Oh, maybe he's not."
Yeah, it's during the montage with a really moody version of Girls Just Want to Have Fun playing, which I thought was the weirdest choice.
It was an odd choice, but I was kind of feeling the song.
Very odd. So one thing we also didn't mention last week, clearly what I've discovered this episode is that we forgot to talk about a lot of things last week, but the other thing we didn't talk about was the post scene with Tessmacher getting nabbed, and we were thinking Leviathan because, I was thinking Leviathan.
Yeah, but that's what we set up at the end of last season,
yeah, because she mentioned that was the whole scene in Chad at the end. And she kind of implies in this episode that like that's who she comes from, that's who she originally works for, kind of thing. But Lena was the one that grabbed her. Lena paid someone to grab her, and she wants to use Tessmacher as a guinea pig for integrating her AI into a human being. Yeah. So Tessmacher all episodes try to like prove that she's going to be loyal to her. That if she just lets her out, she'll be loyal for reals this time. She won't be working for Lex. She'll be Lena's, right hand man, as it were. And Lena cold-heartedly just like uses her body to be this AI host, and at the end of the episode, like Miss Tessmacher's walking about, but she's actually this Hope, this AI.
Why not?
I feel like, okay, so we're doing some sort of AI goes evil plot here, right? Like this has to be where we're going.
Probably. I think that's less interesting than the Leviathan angle we were hoping for.
I mean, they've still set up Leviathan existing, so they still have to.
No, in existence, sure, but I thought we were dealing with that already. We're doing secret organizations in this world, and not yet.
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. The whole idea of the AI going nuts because it's a super related thing. It makes me think of Superman 3. So I'm hoping for some of that magic if that's where we're going with it.
We can get some references. This show is not afraid to reference shitty Superman movies.
Yeah. Andrea's getting pissy with Kara for running off and not doing her job.
Yeah, she's giving her shit jobs. Like, oh, hey, you do the fashion beat, and then when she's terrible at that or just doesn't do it, it's like, right, you basically get demoted and be the copy editor.
Yeah. This is one of these things where it makes sense in a logical point of view, because yes, technically she is running out from work, and like from her boss's perspective, it just looks bad. But it's frustrating as a viewer because I feel like we got over having to deal with this back in like season 1 and 2. You know, when Kat was like,
yeah. Do you know what's also really weird to me is like, I know she can't. she can quit, but she's not allowed to work for another media outlet for 2 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Just go be Supergirl full time for 2 years. Just take a DEO paycheck for a little bit, and then go back to doing
Well,
journalism.
she has to be getting a DEO paycheck anyway. The only way she's affording that apartment is on 2 paychecks.
I know. I'm assuming there was some nepotism going on, and Jimmy was giving her a real nice wage.
Sure. Okay.
After the whole thing with the DEO last season.
Okay. So she has that curse of like characters in TV shows having way too big apartments for what they can feasibly afford on their own.
Yeah.
Nia's is a bit more realistic, actually. I'll give Nia's.
Alex's is big, but she's a high-ranking agent at this organization. I assume she's on a pretty good pay.
Yeah. That's fair. I can see that. And obviously Lena's like a billionaire, so whatever. Like
she can have whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah, she can have whatever she wants. But yeah, Lena's evil, right? It's like she's like, I mean, she thinks she's doing this for the good of mankind and whatnot, but Lena is just straight up like infected a human being with AI. Like, and sure, she may be redemptive by the end of the season. She might like see what she's done is wrong and realize that by the end. But right now, she is in a dark place and doing dark things without much.
Yeah. Oh, she's evil as shit right now.
Without much moral question. So that's where we are with her. Yeah, I mean, this episode was probably better than the first episode. It had some action that I enjoyed. You know, the whole fight out of Alex's apartment and then spilling it onto the streets. I mostly enjoyed that, and a couple of little bits. I do think none of the actual season plots so far are really doing anything for me.
Yeah, which is a shame, isn't it?
I don't care much about Jean's brother yet. Although that led to all the good action scenes, so maybe I'm more into that.
Yeah, I will say on that one, I don't dislike anything in it. It's just it just exists. Whereas the other plots have stuff I don't like as much.
Yeah, Lena's whole AI thing, it just feels like out of nowhere. It just feels like, okay, I guess we're doing this now with Lena.
Yeah, she's never been super into AI. She didn't even have an AI until last episode.
Yeah. Andrea and the British guy, I could do without all that nonsense.
Yeah, cut that entirely.
And this is now 2 episodes in a row that's had a montage with a song at the end. Now, some of the other Supergirl's not done that a lot before because it has, but it feels especially formulaic this season so far for some reason.
It does. We didn't mention though last time you had the Muse song for the fight, which I quite enjoyed. The big fight in the theater or wherever it was that they were at had a whatever Muse song it was playing, Supermassive Black Hole, I think. Because of course it was, with the Phantom Zone stuff. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So that was Supergirl, Stranger Beside Me episode. So
yeah.
it was viewable.
Sure, yeah. I won't argue with that.
That was about it. that's where it's landed. Which will take us on to Batwoman Season 1, Episode 2. It's called The Rabbit Hole. How many of the titles do you think are going to be related to Alice in Wonderland? Or
every title. I'm kind of okay with that if they can pull it off.
I'm just looking at the next couple.
I really hope they are.
I don't think they are. At least they're not sticking out to me as
I mean, it could be.
Especially not episode 9, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths Hour 2.
Okay, no, I'll give them that one though. The next one, Down, 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 that probably could be. Feels like something that could be from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
Batwoman was on again, and
yes, it was.
And we got more family drama, which the whole thing, right? So on the one hand, I'm glad we're getting this whole Is Beth Alice thing out of the way, because we're doing it right now. We're not like hiding it from the audience. We're proposing the idea. We're straight up doing it in this episode 2. Really straight up addresses it where Kate's trying to prove it and Kate's trying to talk to Alice, and Alice basically says she is, and we're dealing with the idea of like, is she just lying to her? Is there more to this?
I think that's the only frustrating part, is that at the end of last episode, it felt like, yes, she is, right? And they both had that moment that it felt like the show was confirming it. And then this episode, we're going through the motions of, well, actually, is she?
Yeah. The tone of the end of the last episode just felt like it was done, and we'd accepted it and we'd moved on. This episode, it was more, no, we're going to spend the whole episode proving it, despite the fact that we already feel like it's a done deal, especially for us having read the comics because we know it's true. So we're just sitting here going, yeah, we know.
I will say maybe that's the thing the show does to be ballsy, is actually it's not.
Well, there's one big difference. Obviously, we talked a lot about differences in the first episode, just in general, concept things, difference with the comics. I think the thing that really stuck out to me in this episode, at least it feels this way right now, is that in the comics, they do a big thing where Alice and Beth are very much different personalities, and Beth's like fighting off Alice, and Alice takes control. In the show so far, it just feels like Alice is a demented version of grown-up Beth. She's not like a separate personality. At least so far, it doesn't feel that way.
No, she felt abandoned and went a bit crazy.
Like she references things from their past, whereas I don't think in the comics Alice did that, because Alice didn't necessarily have those memories, didn't have those experiences to talk about.
I don't recall that as much, but it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but So. I guess what I'm saying is I just think that makes her a little bit less interesting because she's just a bit more straightforward, I guess.
That's fair.
So
she's not terrible though.
The worst scenes in the episode by far are everything with Sophia and Kate having.
Is that the love interest?
Yeah, that's the love interest. Them having scenes with each other are tedious, especially when we get to the really tropey ones towards the end where.
Are you happy?
Sophia has to be like. Look, we're not a thing. You have to move on. Like, oh my god.
Ugh,
I hate it.
Yeah.
And even earlier on when she's like, if I'd known you were getting married, I could come back sooner. It's like, oh, I didn't think weddings were your thing. Oh, not to go to it, to stop it. And I'm like, can we not? I don't care.
Yeah.
I care nothing about this. I really don't. Where my positives maybe a lie is typically the Batman-y stuff.
It's pretty good.
It looks alright, and
I particularly enjoyed her on the bike.
Sure. I don't like the mask still. I think the curl looks really fat in her head for some reason. It's got this weird shape to it.
Yeah, they're changing it at some point, aren't they?
Yeah, we'll get the proper suit soonish. In fact, they were kind of setting up in this episode. One of the running things was that Luke kept saying to her, "You're setting the city up for something that isn't actually happened." They all think Batman's back, but he's not really. So I feel like the changing of the suit is going to be like an identity thing. I said, no, we're going to make it clear that
this isn't him.
Yeah, I'm not the Batman. I'm the Batwoman, and I've got red on me.
Was that meant to be a Shaun of the Dead reference?
Kind of,
because it felt like one.
It was a borderline. It was you could take it or leave it. So yeah, she uses a code word, which is waffles, to signal a meeting place they used to have where they used to go get waffles back when the park was not a shithole. And she goes and meets Alice, and they have a back and forth. And Alice is basically admitting who she is, and I mean, she does put that little seed of doubt. She's like, well, maybe I could just read an old article that maybe mentioned that you both went here for waffles. But the rest of the episode, it very much feels like, no, that was just her toying with her a little bit, like everything else. Because the fact that she sends someone after her stepsister out of jealousy because she wants no competition as the real sister, kind of confirms
again,
it.
Unless she's really playing into the part at that point.
Sure. The stepsister, of course, being her Leslie Tompkins-esque character, that Mary, I think her name is.
Yeah.
So Kate's kind of bonding with her a little bit and agrees to like hang out with her, but doesn't show up because she's too busy being Batwoman and seeing Alice, and because of that, she has to fend off this bad guy mostly on her own until Kate, like Alice, kind of hints that she sent someone after him, and Kate kind of shows up at the last second to save her. But that was basically it. I'm definitely the two locations that are really sticking out to me in this, that they're using shots of Chicago, or at least places that look like those streets in Chicago, is the bridges, because the bridge where the explosive goes off is definitely looks like that place in Chicago. I mean, I assume that the big shots of it are actually just from Chicago, and then the close-ups of them on the street are probably just from somewhere that looks similar to in Vancouver or whatever. And then the other one is the street leading up to Wayne Tower. I'm pretty sure that's that same street from Dark Knight. It looks like the same street.
It looks very similar. I'd have to check, but you might be right.
It's when she was riding up to it on the bike, I'm like, that just looks like the same street. Like it actually does.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
And I have to feel that's intentional. They're like, hey, what about that Dark Knight
They
magic?
want it to feel like that, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, the writing has got a long way to go before
it does. But I mean, like, even down to, okay, we're on the bike, cape's flowing. there are points where I can see aesthetically kind of
Mm.
that being the inspiration, and hey, it's not a bad aesthetic inspiration to go with.
No, they're trying the bestest. They're trying the bestest. I just wish the writing and the character drama wasn't painful to sit through.
Yeah,
And there's a whole plot beat where she thinks that Alice tried to steal her butterfly knife back because they were going to test it for DNA. And they do get attacked at one point with people in like the bunny masks and whatnot.
yeah, and they do take the knife, right?
Uh, yes, they do.
Yeah.
But they actually realize that Alice is like, I didn't send anyone after you, and she, it's like, why would she lie about it? So it's like, okay, so someone else wanted it, and then the twist at the end is that it's actually her stepmom who, for some reason, wanted that knife, so she could get rid of it. Which, like, she wants to just prove that it's not Beth because she'd rather they don't know.
Maybe.
What does she know? Does she know something? Does she have any?
The fact that this felt so evil, right? And
Mm.
she's behind it all, makes me think it's probably not as obvious as that.
Yeah, she's probably not evil. She's probably just doing it for their own good or some bullshit.
Misintentioned.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm assuming there's a twist to this because it's too early to set up and be that obvious.
Yeah. And the narration was back, and I kind of hate that.
No. I'm not a fan.
Nah. It's a rough episode. I think these first two episodes have been pretty rough. I think the good kind of things that are kind of in there, which you want to kind of be the center stage, or even just like the show would be fine if everything else around it was just better written. It would be, but unfortunately, it really bogs everything down in unnecessary drama moments and relationships and other things. I mean,
it's not terrible. It's just not very good.
I mean, I'd probably go a bit further than not very good at times.
Yeah, I would too. I'm being a little bit generous there because it's a new show and it's finding its feet, but
Yeah, we'll
I
give
don't
this
think it's
time.
terrible
Time.
yet.
I mean, they're setting up characters. Maybe one's like, because Mary doesn't know she's Batwoman yet. Maybe because she'll find out, presumably early. I feel like she'll be one of the first to know.
Pre-crisis.
Yeah.
I love that we're going to refer to things as pre and post-crisis.
Because I presume that the goal of this season, pre-crisis, is to get her to the point where it feels like the one we met last crossover is set up by episode 8. So that episode 9, which is part of the crisis, is just the jump ahead.
I would have thought so. Otherwise, 9's going to feel so out of place.
Yeah. So that'd be my expectation. I feel like she'll probably get her. I mean, they could be ballsy and not give her the red cape and like hair and all that until end of episode 8. But I feel like it's probably going to be the next couple.
Yeah. Do you think we're doing a time jump then after like episode 8 or so? Because obviously, Elseworlds we know happened at a certain time because other shows have all carried on.
I think so. Maybe even before that, to be honest.
It might well be, yeah. But I say by at the end of episode 8
Yeah.
at the latest. It could be after next episode for all I know.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, I think it'll be a time jump. It makes sense, because they're going to ultimately want it to be in sync with the other shows and the same Earth, right?
Yeah, I would have thought so. And they'll have to jump ahead, what, a year and a half maybe? Depends how long she was going before Elseworlds.
Yeah. Bit of a question here is that both Wonder Woman and Robin are referenced in this. The news report mentioned, something like, "Oh, was Batman back in town for a weekend because of Robin's high school graduation?" And I'm like, okay, so there was a Robin. They never mentioned that before.
No, but I mean, we knew there was a Batman, so it's not a huge leap to assume there was a Robin at some point.
Yeah, but yeah, you interest this whole idea of like a kid in a suit like helping. It does open this kind of can of worms that none of these have really done, because even their Wally and their other characters that are supposed to be kids have all been like 20.
That's true. It depends how young we're talking about as being a kid, because there's all right, a graduation. What level of graduation? We're talking about end of school, 18. Batman's been missing 3 years, so that puts him at 15 at that point.
He had to be at least operating for a while though before Batman disappeared.
At least a year, yeah, I would say. So that puts him at like 14 at a minimum, I would say.
At max, you mean?
No, I mean, in that range, assuming it was a year, I think 14. But I mean, depends what they're talking about graduation. If it was a college graduation, okay, he could have been significantly older when he started doing Robin stuff.
No, what I mean is you said 14 at a minimum. That's not the minimum, that's the maximum then. Because the
Oh,
minimum
okay,
could be an
sure,
age under that.
yeah, sure, okay, I'm with you. In that scenario, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
So far, it's a pretty mundane show. It definitely feels like the successor to Arrow. I'll give it that.
It
It's not.
does.
It's not as stupid yet, admittedly, but it definitely feels like it's filling
I
that
mean,
kind of void.
not to spoil anything, but I had way more fun with Arrow this week.
Well, we'll be getting there soon. But before we get to that, we do have the Flash to talk about.
Which might be the most uneven episode in a long time.
But is uneven better than just bad all the way through, which a lot of the episodes have been.
I don't know, because I kind of like half of this episode. You know, the Barry plot dealing with crisis
I want to
stuff.
just introduce it. Flash season 6, episode 2. It's called A Flash of Lightning. Yeah, because of the monitor showed up and saying he has to die in crisis, they want to figure things out, and he's like, I want a second opinion. Who else can we talk to? And he wants to go in the future to see Crisis, or to see it past the Crisis.
Day after, so
Yeah.
like the 11th of December.
So he tries that, but there's like an anti or dark matter like shielding.
No, it was antimatter.
It was antimatter. Antimatter shielding. He can't run through it. He gets like a really nasty cut in his leg that if he wasn't a speedster, it'd probably kill him. But because he's a speedster, he can sort of take it and just be miserable for a bit.
Yeah.
But he ends up going to Earth 3 to see Jay. And they have his mother be like Joan, which I guess makes sense in the context of his dad being Jay.
In the context of this world, yeah, sure, why not?
And he's like, we're going to strap you into a helmet again, just like Jean on Supergirl, like, you know, Kelly having this, like, oh, it just so happens that we've got a Q-wave brain scanner thingamajig. Jay just like, oh, I've been building this thing for years. I can strap you into it, and you can shoot your mind into the future and get past the barrier.
I'm like, sure, whatever, Jay.
Just pulls us out of his ass like it's nothing. And sure enough, he does. And he sees and I'll give credit to the shows as a whole here. And I like that both Flash and Arrow this week both tease the wall of antimatter like wiping out like all life as we know it. Like,
yeah,
in different scenarios, but we get to see it on both. And I think the one thing I'll say that I do like about these seasons so far is that this is the first time where they've actually been building to the crossover, like from the get-go, where it's like, no, we're going to talk about the fact that this is coming because it's big.
Crisis is a big damn deal.
But he basically starts screaming, and they have to unhook him, and he's basically ill for a while because of this. So they bring him back over to the Earth, and he's basically just sitting on the couch as the rest of the team are actually dealing with the villain of the week.
Yeah, the terrible plot.
In which a Sonic Wave girl is accused of killing someone, but it's actually her supposedly dead sister. That starts to look a little bit like Batwoman. Oh, was it cousin? Sorry, her cousin.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what's his face? Cecile. She like consents that she's actually innocent, even though even she thought she was guilty before she actually spoke to her. And it's like, hey, shit, Joe, you're gonna have to listen to me. And they have a bit of a fight about it. Ultimately, the end result of this is that Cecile decides that she's going to stop being the district attorney and start being a defense lawyer specifically for metahumans because no one gives them a fair shake, and because she can understand them in a way that others can't, partly because she can read minds. but
yeah, although I remember last week I was saying, can she still read minds? This kind of said clearer as to where it was. She doesn't read the thoughts anymore, it's just the emotions.
She's an empath.
Yeah,
she's Deanna Troi,
pretty much. We probably made that same joke last season.
Possibly, I can't remember. So yeah, there was some.
The funniest part of this was the name of the cousin.
Only to us.
Only to us, yeah. That's what but it was funny to us because the name of the cousin was Esperanza, which is funny because it's the name of a character in Raising Dion that we were getting wrong for like 4 episodes, and the show also made a joke about that.
Yeah. So it's just, and I said, I've never heard this name before. It's just, and then all of a sudden Flash is given it as well. So Esperanza locked into my brain. Possibly forever. I'll probably forget it by the next time we do Reason D on this, be honest. But
Probably.
so, I don't have much to say here. The only thing I liked about this whole thing is when Ralph gets blasted in the face with the heat waves or whatever it is that she's firing at him, the villainous cousin.
Yeah, ultraviolet waves.
Ultraviolet waves, that's what it was. His scream after he gets hit in the face did make me laugh.
Yeah, me too.
So I'll give him that. Also, the Cisco's girlfriend, who's a photographer, Killer Frost goes to the art show, but she's got like some Ray Palmer tech, courtesy of Ray Palmer.
It was literally nanites courtesy of Ray Palmer.
Yeah. She it disguises her voice and her eyes so that she can blend in a little bit, even though she has the hair. And she doesn't get art, but then she tries drawing a little thing.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be her holding an icicle, but I'm not going to lie, it did make me think of someone holding a steak, much like the hit television show.
Did.
Hit television show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Just throwing that out there. She's a Buffy fan, that's what it was. She was trying to do a Buffy drawing. But
Killer Frost has never watched a single second of Buffy, and you know it.
Oh, she has. Yeah, she's a big fan. So, yes, I will say another joke that let me laugh here is that because they've got Cisco's girlfriend, whose name I'm forgetting now, Camille, that was it.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Camilla, close. Camilla is working with Iris. She's like the photographer for Iris's little new, paper, this little self-made paper thing she's got going. And Ralph at one point is eating her donuts, and she's like, "They're my donuts," and that was fine. But at the end of the episode, the meta of sort of like proven innocent comes in, and Camilla says the only rule is don't eat my vegan donuts. And I laughed at that because I said to myself, "Oh, these are donuts that Connor can eat now that he's lactose intolerant."
I honestly think I would rather go without donuts.
Have you tried a vegan donut to know that you don't like them?
No, I don't want to though. Just doesn't interest me. I don't want a vegan donut. I want a proper damn donut. With all the pain that entails, if needs be.
All the shit that's going to fly.
Yeah.
Dear. It just made me laugh because I'm like, oh, Cara can eat those donuts. Like because before, when Ralph was eating the donut and she pulled the box away, I was like, oh my god, Cara must be crying his eyes out during this scene because it was like donuts, but then they've been ripped out of Ralph's hands. But then, like, at the end, I'm like, oh no, Connor could be eating these donuts.
But he won't out of principle. Not changing my diet that much.
I'm so getting some
vegan shit.
I am so getting some, not for next week, because you're away next week, so it'll be a solo show next week. I'll just tell everyone that now. Connor's on vacation for a week. But the week after, I am so getting some donuts to eat on air. I'm going to sit and stuff my face with donuts.
Donuts was the first thing that hurt, really, to be honest with you, with this whole thing. Everything else, I'm like, I can do without it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Barry's seen everyone die, and then we get the moment where he's sort of disintegrating into the crisis.
I thought it was interesting in his vision. Cisco was all suited up.
I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, does he get his powers back? How does that happen? Which, honestly, if that happens, I'm going to be even more annoyed because we wasted all that time with him doing this bullshit plot of not wanting his powers anymore.
Are you telling me Flash might have wasted time? How could you possibly insinuate such a thing as possible?
Every single season could be condensed down to about 8 episodes and probably be much better for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That said, though, we did get a lot of Cicada last season, and I did enjoy that.
Cicada's he's coming back for Crisis.
Meta will die. Yeah, so that was the thing. So, Barry's like, hey, I'm not giving up, but I need to, if I have to sacrifice myself to save you and everyone else, I will.
And then Joe gives him a dad speech, kind of saying, hey, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah. I did like that Iris actually brought up the others, though. She's like, hey, we'll get Oliver, we'll get Kara, we'll get the whole team, and we'll fight it. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that someone actually remembered you have these allies that you never bring up.
We'll get the Super Friends together and deal with it.
Yeah, so that's good. No Wells yet.
I do know who he's playing, but I won't say it for spoilers' sake. Because it is a character from the comics.
Oh, interesting.
May not actually be popping up till Crisis by the look of it.
Oh, well, he gets an easy first 8 episodes then. He can relax, sit back, read his All Wells That Ends Wells book.
He might be directing 1 or 2 before then, for all we know.
Yeah, probably. He's probably doing that. We have to talk about blood work.
Oh, do we have to?
A little bit. I will say at least this time because he has one scene early on where he kills the guy because he's trying to buy another gun, and I will say at least this time it looked more like a liquid, his power, because last time I didn't get that from the scene at the end of the episode.
It looked better here, or at
Yeah.
least more like it should.
It looked more like a blood thing. It was a bit dark, but it still looked like liquid at least. And then at the end, he's got the dead body of this guy and he's examining him, but the guy gets back up. He's like a corpse or a zombie or whatever, and that's your little post-credit tease or
A thrilling tease, that.
whatever what you want.
Please tell me that Bloodwork is wrapped up pre-Crisis, because this was the problem last season, that Cicada should have been done pre-Elseworlds.
This has been every season for the last 4 seasons. We keep saying, Doctor, the one with the beak. I forgot his name. From season 3, we kept saying
I can picture him.
He should be wrapped up before the crossover, and he was more so, I guess, because we switched to just Savitar. But
yeah, that actually felt like a bit of a cleaner break. Whereas,
season 4 though, the Thinker, nope, he's still there for the whole season. Season 5, Cicada, nope, he's still here for the whole season. So don't do this to yourself.
No, I've got to have hope.
Don't hope foolishly that Bloodwork's going to be gone, because I don't believe it.
But it's Bloodwork. It can't be a whole season of Bloodwork.
IMDb actually has a mistake here. It has John Wesley Shipp credited as Henry Allen. He was not playing Henry Allen in this episode.
Yeah, for shame, IMDb.
I know.
My one thing that I would say that Bloodwork could only be a pre-Crisis thing is we have Godspeed to deal with.
That's true. We do have Godspeed to deal with. So yes, maybe we'll get back to that after Crisis. But I just, I enjoyed the Crisis setup stuff, even though I did get annoyed at Barry just changing his mind completely. Like Barry's attitude shifts. Like, all it takes is one thing for Barry to completely switch his entire attitude with, and he's done it so often through all 6 seasons of this show that it still makes me roll my eyes.
Yeah,
it's meaningless.
Barry has no convictions.
Other than that, I do kind of enjoy the teasing of Crisis, and I like that it is spending some time on building to that. In both Flash and Arrow. It
feels important, doesn't it?
And even if Supergirl's not dealing with it as directly, even their villain came from the Monitor, so there's still a bit of a link. So yeah, that's Flash. Also, why did Ultraviolet, when she storms the police station, try to get her cousin, because she wants to she wants to kill her cousin so that no one knows she's alive. But I'm like, you're going to have to kill everyone in the building now at this point to prove you're not alive.
Yeah, and she was trained by some assassins.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We now have someone training metahumans to be assassins. Yes, that we have to deal with.
Yes, because she had some martial arts skills as well as the powers.
Well, that was the other thing. Why even bother with the martial arts skills if you've got these powers? Why not just burn everyone? But she stopped doing that and just started doing kicks and punches. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. It
really doesn't.
But
whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just looking at Twitter because for those who are not aware, Tim, who does Screams After Midnight, the horror movie podcast with me, for some reason is a fan of the movie The Boy from 2016. And today,
it's a delightful movie, I'm sure.
And today there was the great news that for the second time it's been delayed. It was meant to come out at Christmas after it had been delayed from October or whatever, and it's now been delayed again until February 2020. And I was rubbing this on his face.
Oh, please tell me they're putting this out as a Valentine's film.
I was rubbing this in his face, and he's like, "You can't rush greatness." That was earlier on, but someone else responded saying that there goes Katie Holmes's Oscar race 2020. And Tim just responded to that with 2020 will be our year! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! I just wanted to tell everyone that because it made me laugh.
It's quite funny.
So we will move on because I think I'm done. But yeah, we've got a organization training, or at least a person training metas to be villains.
It felt like an organization, to be fair.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Leviathan.
So we got that. We got Godspeed. We got Bloodwork. We got Crisis.
Yeah.
Maybe too much.
This show having too much.
I did think it was weird how when Killer Frost bought those pieces of art from the art show, she put them up over computer monitors. That felt like a weird choice to me.
Because she doesn't give a shit about what's on the
I
screens.
feel like Cisco would be like, "Yeah, we actually have to look at those monitors later. They're not just there for."
Yeah, and Cisco just went and
Sure.
put her drawing up. It's like, see, now it's complete. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
hey, Cisco, you know you want to see the information on those screens.
Anyway, finally then, Arrow season 8. God, season 8,
You look terrible at this today.
episode 1. It's called Starling City, and it starts out with this weird fake out where we redoing a different version of his origin because he gets found on the island and he meets Moira.
There's a
And
Batman mask instead of a Deathstroke mask.
yeah. And we see Tommy and Malcolm are back at the house. Malcolm's married to Moira, and it's not actually until like we don't quite get what's going on here. It's not until he runs into Laurel, who turns out to be Black Siren Laurel, who's now good.
Yeah, when did she get here?
She went back home at the end of the last season, give or take.
So is this her Earth?
This is her Earth. This is Earth 2.
Okay. I thought she referenced like her Oliver Queen being like a Green Arrow thing like multiple times in the past, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I don't think so. No, she was always from Earth 2.
No, I know she was, but I thought she referenced stuff. I didn't know if she went back home or if she went to a different Earth to, well, they don't have a canary, so I'll go be a canary there. I don't know. I was drunk. I have a clue what goes on in this show.
No. So okay, so it's an Earth we've been to before, so that's kind of neat. So the idea is that this is still at the right part of the timeline, as in we've not went back in time. This is just Oliver's been missing for like ages now, because
10 years, I think.
because he actually died in the boat wreck, in this Earth. So Laura knows who he is, and he's like, "Why are you here? What's going on?" And it turns out the Monitor sent him to this Earth to get some Dark Star,
Dwarf Star stuff.
Dwarf Star material, yeah.
More Ray Palmer stuff.
More Ray Palmer stuff. But obviously gets caught up in what's going on. There is a Green Arrow here, working with Laurel.
It's still going by the hood.
Still going by the hood. And when he pulls off the mask to reveal who it is, it's none other than one Adrian Chase. It is Prometheus.
I love this.
And they played his theme.
The whiskey came out in droves.
I don't know which one's more notable. The fact that we had that reveal, or that 10 minutes later we got the reveal that the Dark Archer on this Earth is Tommy. And
I think that one was so obvious that I was expecting it, whereas I wasn't expecting my boy Prometheus here. It kind of caught me off guard.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with Tommy, is that we've been joking about him being like the reveal of who someone is for seasons and seasons. That made me laugh more. Because it was like, oh, Tommy's something finally. Finally, Tommy's the reveal.
Finally, it's Tommy. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
In this Earth, Walter pissed off to explain why they don't have a Salmonator. And Thea OD'd on her 18th birthday because she didn't want to come back. So
no, but here's the thing. She is coming back in like 2 episodes' time.
Oh, that's pretty funny, actually, then.
Yeah.
But hey, so like that's the thing. And I love that there's a fake out with Diggle where Moira's now, "I've got you a bodyguard," and like Diggle's standing there. It's just like season 1. He's in this suit and he's like, "I'm going to drive you around, Mr. Queen." And it's when Oliver tries to break out the car and he's like, "Yeah, I know your tricks." It's like,
"Fool me once, Ollie."
And he's like, "Damn it, you're my Diggle." You're Diggle from Earth 1.
I actually thought that was pretty funny.
So Diggle's actually here. So he has one regular character with him. And of course, obviously by the end, him and Laurel come with him back to Earth 1, or wherever they end up going. So clearly this is going to be... Because we didn't know what this season of Arrow was going to be. And
it's just shenanigans all season.
It's basically kind of filling in for what was in Crisis on Infinite Earths, where it's showing us how different Earths are dying. Because at the end of this episode, he beats... Tommy, although he actually kind of makes him turn over a new leaf, because he kind of convinced, because he's doing his own undertaking. He's got the same earthquake machine from season 1, which Adrian thinks sounds like science fiction.
I did appreciate that. He's like, "Oh God," he's got him all tied up, and he's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh God damn it, you're just doing the undertaking." I was like, "How the hell do you know that name?"
Joe, later about this, I was thinking back to Arrow season 1, and all I could think was, if you went back to the writer's room for Arrow season 1 and said, "Hey, the season premiere of season 8 is going to take place on Earth 2," like, what would the response to that be? But it's so well set up at this point because of Flash and everything that's happened in the crossovers that no one questions it.
No, and I would never. We give Arrow a lot of shit, usually deservedly. hey, it playing with multiple Earths, it's well entitled to do at this point.
Oh yeah, sure. So yeah, so at the end of the episode, the wall of antimatter is like going through the Earth, and we see Moira get disintegrated, Tommy gets disintegrated, evil Renee and Dinah. It's like what's her name? What's her name? Dinah. Like they all get disintegrated, and it's like okay, last moment, Oliver and Laurel and Diggle jump through because the reason why he got here is he's got Cisco's portal maker.
Sure. Yeah.
Doohickey.
Again, one of those things. Fine, why not?
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I didn't love this episode. There was definitely a lot of it that was a bit tedious, but I'm going to be bold here and say it was probably the most enjoyable episode of any of them this week.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I
had
hate
a blast with it. It felt self-aware.
I hate to say it, but it felt self-aware. It's doing the most to build up to Crisis. The Monitor was even there to remind Oliver what he's meant to be doing. But actually ending with the world is dying. You know that many worlds will die.
What we're gonna do? Like, is that a little bit formulaic that probably every episode is going to be okay, and now this world dies, or is that just no? It's part of the tapestry.
Well, I feel like what you do. I mean, assuming they do it well, I feel like what you do is that. Well, this time it was a surprise at the end of the episode. I feel like next time they know it's going to be dead by the time they're leaving, so there's like a race against the clock. Like you incorporate it more into the.
Okay, so they've got. That's why you've got to get in, and get your mission done, not get caught up in the personal lives.
Because you've only got so much time before this world dies, and you can't get it at that point. So, So not every episode, but I can see them doing it a few times to really establish these Earths are all dying.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of stuff in here that's kind of tedious. That you're like, okay, I understand why they're doing this. Like Oliver having all the moments with Moira and and stuff like that.
And we'll get to the flash forwards in a minute. We're not forgetting about those.
Yeah, they have a special place in hell. But even just Oliver's drama stuff. Some of it I'm like, yeah, okay, you've got to do it because it's the only thing that makes sense to do. But it's kind of boring to watch. But for the most part, the playing with the idea of okay, let's redo the first episode on another Earth and kind of intentionally play with those things. But Oliver has all this knowledge now. That's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
I will say they killed me with the "Are you okays?" Like 6 of them back to back in the space of about 3 minutes towards the end of the episode. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I will say this goes for both the regular stuff because there's a pretty decent action scene. It's when Oliver and it's when all 4 of them come in to fight the bad guys together in a line, and there's kind of there's some nice sweeping shots as they go from character to character beating people up.
Yeah, they're not full on one-ers for the scene, but they have extended sequences.
Yeah, they weren't too bad. I will say the one thing that bothered me in all this though is there was 1 or 2 moments where it felt like at the end of a little beat the character would stand or stop to pose.
They would pause on them,
Yeah, they'd sort of do a little pause, and it happened in the future stuff as well with Mia at one point where she kind of posed after helping out Connor Hawke.
Yeah, it's just get on with it.
Yeah, it's like, no, this is weird. Why are you stopping to pose like you're in a comic book? Like, the reason why it was in comic books is because it's all still images, so you can get these split-second moments. Here, to stop to do it just feels weird and goofy.
Yeah, it is.
But, so, yeah. I mean, obviously, we usually wait to the end to pick the best of the week, but I think this actually wins bizarrely. And I was not expecting that.
I can't believe I'm agreeing. But it's easily the thing I had the most fun with.
Yes. Easily. Of course, the flash forwards don't really count in that.
No.
Because the flash forwards are the new team in the future, taking on the Deathstroke gang at this party thing. The leader turns out to be JJ, the other Diggle son. And I'm not going to lie, there was a moment for me where I questioned for myself. I went, right, did he used to have a daughter and it get turned into a son? Or did he used to have a son and get turned into a daughter? And is this a surprise that it's a son now? Or is it just what's expected because that's what he had after?
No, it's expected. It was daughter into son.
Okay, so this is what you should have after Flashpoint. Okay.
It is. Post Flashpoint, yeah. Also, we did know that this was JJ from last season, I'm pretty sure.
Did we? Okay.
Because this didn't feel like new information. It felt like, this is triggering something.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And basically, they go with Connor Hawke's plan. They fail, and Mia's like, we're doing it my way now, bitch. And that's, where we'll leave it off. That's all I really want to say about it.
Yeah.
And we know that this is a backdoor pilot for a new show. We know that. We know that Mia and who's wearing the green hood and all that now, her and the Canaries are going to be like this show called The Canaries. They want to do that and set that up. Obviously, there's no Dinah or Laurie. Do you know what I was wondering, actually? I was wondering that if maybe they used the Crisis to do something where it's not the old versions of those characters, so they don't have to put them in old age makeup?
I'm gonna take a guess and say, as well as visiting different Earths, Oliver has to visit the future in one of his
Mm,
missions, and he can't leave her behind to be eaten by the antimatter wave, so he brings her back to the present.
yeah, so Mia ends up in the present with the other
Yeah,
canaries. Yeah, that makes some sense. Especially now that Laurel's Earth's gone, so she she can't go back there.
yeah.
So, definitely, I definitely like all the Crisis stuff that it's doing. Obviously not everything else was good, but
No, but I do appreciate what they're doing with the Crisis stuff, and even if like all of it, was some of it was tedious. Again, it felt like they knew what they were doing. It had a confidence to it, which I can't say I've seen in Arrow in a long time.
do you know what it probably is? It's because they know they're ending soon and there's no time wasting. It's just, okay, we've got a story to tell and get through. Let's just get through
They've
it.
only got 10 episodes,
Yeah.
including Crisis.
So, we shall see. But
I have seen Amel teasing some things that he's maybe been dropping some hints that in a post-Crisis world, he will not be gone from the CW universe entirely. Even though he's going to die as Oliver Queen, we kind of know that. There's been some hints that he'll be playing the Spectre, so he can pop up every so often as that, and that's kind of cool.
that would be neat.
I'm in for that.
That'd be neat. Yeah. There you go. That's the 4 shows. We already talked about it. Yeah, Arrow actually wins Best of the Week. The sad part is, though, is that I feel like it's more because the others just aren't doing much right now.
Yeah, like it wasn't an amazing episode. It was better than Arrow's regular standard from the past, 5 years. But it wasn't phenomenal by any means.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the genuinely good episode of Arrow we had last year.
Yes, that one genuinely good episode.
The one good episode. It wasn't that. It was just...
if Legends was on
better.
right now, it'd be sweeping the floor with everyone.
yeah, it would.
Yeah.
No question.
So I hope they can up the game a little bit as the season goes on. Which is because I feel like I'm usually the most hopeful at the start of a season. So the fact that I'm this down on most of them right now,
that's concerning, isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe this is everything will be better after Crisis. Maybe that's what will happen.
That's what we need to hope for now. We're waiting for a post-Crisis world.
Yes, post-Crisis will fix everything. I mean, after all, it's my favorite era in the comics is post-Crisis. So maybe.
Yeah.
Ah, dear. Anyway, so that has been Television to the Multiverse. Like I said earlier, Connor is on vacation next week, so you'll get a solo show from me talking about the 4 shows, and Connor will be back the week after that. Let us know what you thought of the episodes in the comments, like and subscribe. Of course, ding the bell to make sure you get notifications on YouTube. You can support us by rating the podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us, 5 stars, all that kind of thing. Shares us out a little bit more and gets us promoted a little bit. You can support us financially over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and you can do that for as little as $1 per month, where you get like outtake tangents and you get bonus episodes of some of the stuff we do over there, and then obviously other things at the higher tiers. So go and have a look and see if you want to do that. And of course, it'd be silly not to remind you that we do a comic book podcast called Comics from the Multiverse. It's the both of us plus Matt, which we do at the weekends. It goes out every Sunday, and it's us talking about the weekly issues of DC Comics that we read. So go and have a look at that. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching silly superhero TV shows, guys. And remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.